video is brought to you by Custom House at Guitar Center, your premier community-driven destination for all things audio, visual, and lighting. Let's go.
Hi.
Hi, Robert.
I couldn't resist.
Thank you for inviting me. This is awesome. I get to hang out in your hotel room, and I wish people could see this little setup here. Your little command center is very impressive.
You know, I used to carry a lot more. I mean, I used to carry a full studio with me.
I'm going to take a picture of this, and I'm going to post it on here so people can see just what you're working with.
Yeah, that's the office there. Yeah.
So we're here because you're here doing the Sphere.
Yes, I am. Yes. Well, Kenny Chesney is doing the Sphere. I'm just.
But you're not performing. I'm confused.
I'm just coming along.
Like I thought Kenny was going to be doing sound and this was going to be the ultimate.
No.
Everyone gets there and goes, "Aw."
Yeah, I'm just standing on the stage.
Yes, he's over there. Well, you've been here for a while, haven't you?
Yeah, we've been here a while. I mean, I've been in Vegas now. I mean, almost 6 weeks, something like that.
How's it been looking for a condo or an apartment? Is it anything?
Well, luckily we got this. They got us some nice places to stay here. I mean, you know, got our own laundry machines, you know, all the goods, you know.
Wow,
So,
that's cool.
so it's not your typical tour stay, you know.
No.
So that's been a blessing for sure.
Okay, so I have so many questions, and I have held everything in and bottled it until right now, so I'm going to spit them all at you. But my biggest question is, how's it been?
Well, you know, I mean, you know, when this kind of the rehearsal journey started, you know, in January.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just constantly filled with, I don't know what I don't know yet, you know? I mean, there's nothing like this on the planet, you know, and you're going to walk into it and, you know, try to do something extremely new here. I mean, it's just a complete departure audio-wise to what we normally are familiar with, you know?
How much time did they give you warning before you were going to do this? How much time did you know to prep for this? And what was it like getting the phone call saying, oh...
I mean, I think we had some inklings we were going to do it very early on. Like we had, all the technology that is used to create video at Sphere is all Sphere owned. I mean, they researched it, developed it, built their own cameras, the whole 9 yards. I mean, and same thing with audio. Audio was researched and built from the ground up for Sphere. So once Kenny kind of got it in his mind that he was going to go, we started gathering footage for this at the beginning of last year, like at the beginning of the stadium tour. I mean, we had their camera out capturing footage, which you'll see some of that footage tonight at the show.
So they literally have their own camera that comes and shoots for this. I guess you have to because it's so massive.
Yeah, I mean, and forgive me, I'm going to be an audio guy that's going to talk video here first, so just take this for what it's worth. But it's essentially 18K video, right? And from what I understand, I think it's 20K wide, 16K up and down. And so, you know, I mean, there's nothing that will shoot that, so you have to.
Can our eyes even see that?
yeah, we can.
Wow.
I had a friend of mine here the other night talking about, and he's kind of a music guy, you know, he's a musician. He was like, we're standing out in the middle of the audience, and I can see the grain on the fretboard of the guitar player, you know, who's playing. You know, I mean, it's, you know, just the scale of it is just mind-blowing, you know.
Is any of it being filmed there live and being displayed on the screens?
You mean like iMag?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a complete iMag package that goes with it. And Kenny actually is doing that kind of uniquely for his show. Like he's the first show to actually bring in actual lighting. Like all the lighting elements are hung behind the video walls. And there are times when we go to, especially if we have guests show up, like we have, you know, we've had tons of guests show up. We're going to have guests tonight and tomorrow night. He goes to more of like a traditional concert look for it, supported by iMag. You know, and it's really effective. It's really good.
Okay, so when you got that phone call, we kind of had the inkling, like, hey, we're doing this. What was the first thing that, like, was there an oh no, or was it kind of excited?
No,
or was I got to do all of, like, what was your first question?
I've been, you know, I mean, obviously I've been kind of studying and kind of inside the whole immersive spatial audio thing, you know, for a while now. I mean, I've been writing articles on it for the past year and a half. And, you know, one of the things I've always said is, you know, I get all the concepts of, you know, spatial audio, you know, I understand Atmos, all of it. I cannot wait to get it out and try it at scale, right? And try it big and see what the limitations are of it. Because you're going to get it to some point where it's going to break, where you just kind of go, well, we can't do that, you know? Yeah. Because we're working in the land of audio here, you know. Audio travels slow. It travels at the speed of sound, and that's slow. So you're going to run into some hard limitations trying to do that kind of multi-channel audio in a concert setting.
So this isn't
So
really.
I was excited to do it. I was like, I'm going to get my chance to go test this.
You said Atmos. This isn't. It's kind of Atmos, but not really
It's
Atmos.
not anything to do with Atmos. It's just multi-channel audio. I mean, in the Sphere itself, you have, I think it's 48 PA destinations that you can address, right? So I mean, if you wanted to put it in Atmos language, it would be like 48.1. I mean, something like that. So you obviously have to completely rethink how you're going to drive the PA system, how you're going to actually get signal from the console to any section of the PA at any given time, right? I mean, the misunderstanding I think that the general public has about it, is because they see all the marketing for it, 1,640 speakers in the Sphere, like there's going to be audio coming out of all of them at the same time, and it's absolutely the antithesis of that. There's only any one source of audio coming out of one PA system at any given time, right?
Interesting. Now, I'd have to imagine that doing this, preparing for this, you kind of got to take the boxes of what you're used to operating in, i.e., left, right, or LCR,
Yeah.
and just blow the boxes.
You just throw that away.
So,
like, I mean, we talk about this kind of in audio circles, and especially if we're talking about immersive or spatialized audios, and especially at this scale, you throw the concept of stereo away. Stereo does not work here. It cannot work here. But that doesn't mean you can't create a wide sound scope. I mean, that's the beauty of this, is that you have width now, you have height, you have depth. It is 3D audio. You have all three dimensions where you can place audio. But stereo in and of itself is meaningless,
So how did you prep for this? Was there any way that you could prep for it? I'm sure you made a couple phone calls before, but you can't just sit in your living room and put some AirPods in.
Well, surprisingly, you can do some things like that, and the Holoplot guys have facilitated that. Like, they have their own, it's called their oralizer, right? And I'll show it to you when we get over to the gig. And they make a standalone version of that. I mean, it's on my laptop right now.
Can anybody play with that?
Anybody that has access to the app. I mean, they've given it to me. I don't think it's publicly available.
Okay.
I don't know for sure. But what it provides you the ability to do is, even listening to it in stereo, like, how do I want to say this? So, when I was rehearsing in Nashville, I was working on two speakers. I was working in stereo because obviously we don't have anything like this there. But my show file was built to address the Sphere. So there were 64 outputs from the console that go to that oralizer. It folds it down to stereo so I can listen to it there, right? And the thing that it allows you to do is you can actually listen to any position in the building, even if you're listening in stereo. So if you're creating timing offsets, like severe timing offsets with pieces of audio, because the trip up for everybody is this is music. This is music now. So timing is a really, really important element of this, right?
Yeah.
And when you're in the Sphere and you're mixing in concave now, all seats have access to all sides of the PA, right? So if I'm sitting in the center of the room, things can sound absolutely glorious. I mean, just incredible. But because the distance between the left and the right side of the room is, 250 feet, so if you have a guitar player on this side of the room and a guitar player on this side of the room, I mean, out that wide, well, it's great in the center. Even a little bit off center, it'll still be great. But if you get all the way to the outsides of the building, this guitar is now showing up a quarter second late to this guitar. I mean, you can make it sound like the band are playing two different songs if you're not careful.
Jeez.
Right? So, it's wonderfully unicorn-like to think about all of these wonderful things that we can do, but you always have to kind of ground it in, what am I doing to it musically, right? Am I destroying the rhythm and timing element of the music here, So you have to be judicial with it, I mean, you have to be disciplined with it.
Was the process for this, did you get much freedom to kind of do whatever you want? Did you work with Kenny a bit to be able to come up with an idea? And did you approach this the same way of just doing a concert? Or was this like, hey, we're going to do something different and we're going to do it this way now?
Well, the places where it kind of goes different is when you're doing actual sound design for the show, meaning if there are playback elements, like we have, like the intro piece that you'll see tonight, I mean, that was like mixing for a movie score. I mean, it was like mixing a movie trailer. I mean, we were doing that in full surround. You'll see it tonight. It'll make kind of sense what we're talking about. But in terms of the actual context of the show, now he kind of left that all to me to do. But again, there's a couple pieces, like there's one piece that we have that has some ocean sounds and a foghorn and a bell off in the distance to kind of set the tone for the audience for what is coming. That's all different. That's all a different approach.
This is the thing. That's been my thing with Atmos as well, is that it's been all done in post, and I've been waiting for artists to think that way first, and not do it behind. So it's so cool that you get the opportunity to do it in real context at the show, not just I'm going to throw some reverb and make it wider. With it.
I mean, the cool thing about Kenny's music is, he's not, in many ways, not traditional country like we think about it. I mean, there's a lot of contemporary elements in the music that actually lend themselves to the Sphere.
So the cool thing I've seen with Atmos, and with my last job was with a company called Triad Orbit, and we did stands and we did a bunch of speaker mounts for Atmos. So I got to see a lot of cool stuff come up with Atmos, but it felt like to me it was all done in post, and it wasn't thought in the beginning process of how am I going to approach this with this. It was always kind of done afterwards. Yeah. What has been your thoughts, especially since you've been on the forefront of a lot of this, especially with Atmos? What's kind of been your thoughts with that in going into this?
Well, I mean, I obviously always look at it through the lens of live sound. I mean, that's my lane. That's where I'm at. And
if you look up live sound in the dictionary, your picture actually shows up.
I hope it's a good thing. But
it's the one with the long hair.
Yeah, that's a good picture. I like the hair picture. I think since the early days of this, I've always kind of said, live sound's in kind of a unique position for, surround sound, immersive, spatialized audio, because, we can. There's so many more things we can do here than you could do in just general post, And I always felt like, it'll really start to take hold in our industry once artists start creating music from the ground up, written for surround sound. They're not thinking stereo and then, okay, yeah, we'll remix it for Atmos. They're actually composing with Atmos or surround sound in mind. So you kind of get a taste of that coming in with live sound because the palette is wide open. Whatever you want to do, you can do, So we have some sound design in the show. Like the intro of the show is like a movie trailer. I mean, and there are things going everywhere in that room that kind of create this sense of, immersion in the room. And then once we break it down to music, I mean, luckily Kenny's music is a little more modern version of country, and there's a lot of modern elements in it. I mean, there's some loops and sound effects and things like that we can expose to the room and really space things out a little bit, Even the haptics, like there's things, they have haptics in the seats. There are places where I use that for emphasis on certain pieces of music, etc. So, I mean, I was really excited to get in and do it. I'm really excited now to come back, Like I feel like I got the basics kind of out of the way and I know what I can and can't do there and get away with. But thinking back what I'm going to do next time, it's like, okay, game on, here we go.
That actually leads to my next question. I have a Patreon and a YouTube membership, and one of the questions that was submitted to there was by James Shelton, and he said, what is he finding to be the biggest challenge for the show, and did he have time to pre-prep for it?
Yeah.
So I guess maybe take us a little bit to pre-production. You had it in your ears for a little bit with the app. You go to pre-pro, I'm assuming, and then you got to have some sort of practical application before this?
Well, the thing about the pre-pro, I mean, and I've talked to other engineers have asked me that. So like, what was it like? And I've probably built and rebuilt my show file now for this in the neighborhood of 5 or 6 times, because there's routing challenges to it. I mean, not all live sound consoles are set up to do this kind of work, And I mean, in one sense, I was really lucky that Avid came out with a new engine for the S6L really right before we started rehearsals, and it gave me the capability to do this. I mean, we're on Kenny Chesney at the Sphere, and I am pushing the envelope on that engine in terms of outputs and inputs. It's just a crazy amount of work. But you have to kind of rethink it. Like, you're not mixing to a stereo bus anymore. There is no bus. The PA is the mix bus, So it presents some real kind of practical challenges. I mean, none the least of which was, how do I listen to my mix during the show on anything other than the PA? Like, I can't.
Solo?
Yeah. I mean, solo, what does solo mean right now? I mean, things like that, it just, there's these things that trip you up. Even, like in our normal workflow on the tour, I mean, I print a 2-track mix every night plus audience mics that goes up to the cloud, and the band can access it 30 minutes after they walk off stage and listen to something and go check something, etc. It's like, well, how do I fold this down here?
I was just going to ask, how do you collapse it down to like?
So the way I've done it, and I mean, I think the Holoplot guys and the Spirit guys are okay with it, is I use the standalone app on my laptop, and I take the 64 feeds that go to the PA and feed those also to the laptop, fold it down, and on the Dante network, send it back to the console. So if I push mix to solo, then it's listening to that folded down version of it at the console, you know. So just all these kind of simple things become not so simple anymore, you know, these things that we hold on to a lot.
Okay, going from using the app at first to pre-pro to actually show, what was the biggest challenges and the biggest surprises going through each stage?
The biggest, really the biggest challenge was just getting the console in a state where I could mentally manage the routing on it. Like I could look at an input and easily interrogate where I'm actually sending that right now, you know. Because it's, you know, usually it's left, right, or center, you know, pan left, pan right, or pan center, you know. But here it's, you know, you're one of 64 choices. Now, I mean, that's a little disingenuous. I mean, you narrow it down, it's one of about, you know, 20 choices that you're going to place, you know, because like I said, you can do width, you can do height, and then you can do depth with it. So, you know, you can get creative with things that you want to do with it as long as you can pay attention to the timing and keep it sounding like music, you know. But the challenge, really the challenge was, how do I mentally navigate selecting a channel and immediately knowing where it's assigned, where it's going, right? And that gets one step complicated even further with S6L, kind of the way their plugin architecture works, because they work in stereo channels and reverbs return in stereo to the stereo channel. So if you wanted to split that reverb out to two locations in the venue, you have to be careful how you assign it. You know, like if you're using grouping, then as soon as you assign it to the group, it collapses it to mono. So, you know, I had to come up with a way to manage that aspect of it. So on the console, I go through 64 groups that represent the 64 locations that it can go, and those 64 go to 64 matrices that then go to the PA. And that allows me to keep any reverbs that I have, any multi-channel reverbs that I have, those just go directly to the matrices, not to the groups. So I had to create two stages of it to get it to the PA. And it took me a while to kind of, you know, figure that out. It took me 2 or 3 builds to get it, so.
Is there a general idea of position with it, or is it like, how do you understand where it is with that?
I actually have like the Oralizer itself will show you a map.
Okay.
And it's actually a live map. Like you can see audio going to any given array.
I love the name, the Oralizer.
Yeah. And they also have a map that I have as a screensaver on a little monitor that I have above the console that has all of them labeled in numbers. So I've just matched all those numbers on my group sends and my matrix sends to those numbers. It's like, okay, well, I want that keyboard pad, I want it to be in 20 and 29. Okay, here we go, doink, you know.
Naive me would think that like I would still, this is me why I'm here and you're here though, looking at this, I would still want it to come from visually I see it there, I would love to hear it here and not hear it from here, but you've got all this other stuff going on. So I think I would almost want to try to still keep it in the stereo mindset with that, because I still think, even we've talked this about before, even in stereo with doing width, the person over here may not hear this over there, but that's not necessarily the case now, though,
That's not the case now. And
oh, that's so weird.
It actually works against you. And it gets down to this. It's kind of counterintuitive, but as you start to think about it in terms of PA shape, right? We are mixing in concave now. Concave, right? Whereas in an arena, right, we're mixing in convex. Right? If you look at an arena PA, it moves like this, right?
Yeah.
So if we have something pan left, well, that has no timing impact on the people on the right, right?
Yeah.
But now we've inverted that, which is the right thing.
Yeah.
So, but now you have to pay very close attention to timing interaction, you know. Have you ever wondered this? I've posed this to a few people at times, and I don't really ever get good answers. It's
You'd
like,
be surprised by how many things I wonder.
it's like in the studio, why do we always have the monitors set up in triangulation, right? They're set up in a triangle.
Yeah.
We never do that in PA work.
Now, no, I've never thought of that actually.
And I'll tell you why, because it actually, to me, it lends itself back to another.
Well, because there's one fixed location though of it, so you're trying to get sound out to everybody.
Right.
Though
You're not trying to cover the entire room.
Yeah,
for
yeah,
one,
yeah.
And
Would be my thought.
But the offset in timing between those two things is very small in that situation, in studio, even in movie theater. But it's also at the basis of why that I believe, and I get a lot of pushback on this, believe me, that stereo is a terrible choice for large scale sound reinforcement.
So
terrible.
So what's your
Because
alternative?
I mean, it's because, and I'll give you the synopsis of why. When you're in large format stereo, and I'm talking like stadium, even arena, I'll put it in arena. When you have something panned center, vocal, snare drum, bass guitar, the tonality of those pieces is dependent upon where you are in the horizontal domain of that room, because they are a function of two speakers adding together, right? If I'm sitting directly in the middle of the left-right, those things tonally are going to sound right. As I move left and right, now I'm getting late arriving information from this one and early arriving information from this one, and it's going to create a tonal shift on all of those pieces. In stadium level, that comb filter, that tonal shift, is full bandwidth because of the distance offset, right? So you don't have that in this kind of concave world, because you don't ever have two things coming out of one thing coming out of two different speaker systems. You only have it coming out of the center system. No matter where you go, tonally it stays correct, right? So that to me, that's kind of why immersive and this object-based mixing, there is a lot of merit to it. Certainly in terms of tonality shift and acoustic phase on the PA. It's a fantastic advantage.
Okay, tuning.
Yeah.
How did that work? Were you able to tune the room? Did you were able to put some RTA? Like, how did that like?
Well,
it ruins all of my thought. Like, you're grinding all of my gears.
I
And
know.
everything. Like,
I know. Well, it grinds everybody's gears.
I'm just sitting in the middle and just drool, going, I don't know.
Especially systems engineers, because I mean, it flips their world completely upside down now.
Is your SE here with you for this?
Yeah. But it does. I mean, we've come from an era, let's say the last 60 years, right? I mean, let's call it the Don Davis era. I mean, that's fair. Where the idea was that we are going to take point source enclosures, right? And we are going to be in such control of pattern for those enclosures that we'll be able to aim one there and then set another one here and aim it here and keep the overlap minimal, because they're both going to carry the same signal, right? So the idea is controlled pattern and no overlap, right? That's how we're going to keep the acoustic phase good for the audience. Move to line source, very similar situation there, where you're going to have very controlled pattern and very little interaction between those boxes in the vertical domain. And then you're going to create arrays, multiple arrays, that also do not have overlap. We want to create minimal overlap there. For object-based immersive, flip that completely upside down. We want all the overlap we can get now, right? Because any array is going to distribute something that the entire audience needs to hear, right? But it's never going to come out of another speaker. It's never going to compete with anything else. So we don't have to have it under such intense pattern control. Matter of fact, we want it wide. So that's kind of the concept in Holoplot, is that with their beamforming algorithm, they can take one entire array and cover the entire building with it, right? So when you hear stuff coming out of that center proscenium array, maybe it's vocal, maybe it's snare drum, kick drum, other things, those are being presented to the entire room from that location.
So the normal process of going to pre-pro and getting everything set and then going to the venue and EQing, tuning the speakers to that is not the same. Like,
it's not. It doesn't even. I will say it doesn't completely apply. I mean, there is still a tuning element of it. You're going to be tonally working with the system, but in terms of time alignment and working on overlap, those things are done. You don't do that. And the bigger challenge is, like, even if you wanted to do transforms like an FFT on the PA system, well, pick which PA system you're going to transform during. You're not going to be able to do a live transform during the show, because you have multiple sources coming from multiple PA systems, as opposed to all of the elements coming off your console coming out of one speaker at one time, where you could transform that easily.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Speakers, band, you. This time, instead of speakers being in front, they're now way behind. Like how much delay from PA to band?
From PA to band, we did some delay locators on it, and it's about 90 milliseconds right now.
And then the front of house?
We're sitting at about 210, something like that there, you know? Yeah. Well, you're going to see it today. I mean, I've tripped some people out, you know, taking them to parts of the building, and I go, yeah, we're actually 200 feet away from the PA right now, you know? And they're like, no way. I'm like, yeah.
So I'm sure you had to kind of rethink some things as a band to be able to facilitate. I mean, wedges are out of the question for it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, live sources on the stage are just, you know, it's just a no-go, you know?
drum set. How's that work?
You just have to, you know, when you have time delay problems, there's only two choices, right? You either delay them in time or you turn one down. That's the only choice you have. Well, this is the
Stop
live
hitting so
instrument, right? Yeah, I can't turn it down and I can't move
Yeah.
it in time. So, you know, you just, like, we had to put up plexiglass around Nick, and I'll be honest, it was one of the areas I was really concerned about
Yeah.
coming in, as I was like, I know I'm going to be hearing drums down there first. But, you know, I don't want to call it a happy accident. We gave it some intense thought. But, you know, he's sitting upstage left in the setup, and he's pretty far back. And kind of given where people are, it's like the timing is just close enough. And with the plexiglass, we knocked down the amplitude of the snare and the kick enough where it feels pretty good down there. I mean, the Sphere guys have told us that's the best it's been there since anybody's come in. But that's a real issue, you know, it's a real issue. And, you know, it's one of those things, you know, to try to talk to an artist about this and get them to understand it, it's really, really hard, you know. I saw I don't want to call him out on this, but I saw a guitar player the other day on one of the podcast things talking about this. Like, well, I go in there, I'm definitely having my amp on stage. And it's like, well, let's talk about this. Because, you know, you want me to simulate what this is going to be like for the audience? Okay, well, let's take your guitar amp and let's put a delay pedal on it, okay? And now let's listen to it 70% wet. Because that's what the audience is, that anybody that's in earshot of your amplifier, that's what they're going to hear. That's the guitar sound they're going to hear. Matter of fact, that's the guitar sound you're going to hear on stage.
Okay, last time if you guys don't know, we've already done a video. If you guys want to see his video that we did with him, it's click below, you guys will see this. But with that video, we walked through a lot of things that you spent a lot of time on, getting microphones and getting amped and getting that tone. One thing I've appreciated about you is and I've noticed about the greats, is they're really focused on source tone and microphone. That solves most of your problems.
Solves a lot of, yeah.
Now, are you still doing live amps? Are they off somewhere else with it? Did you have to throw it all out the window?
We are reaping all the dividends of all of that work here, because you know the players have been on ears for years, all of them, and we've been working with remote stations of live amplifiers in the stadiums. So it's no different for them. They don't even see it as being different, you know. So that part of it is just a godsend with them. I mean, they walked into this without any
But you still have live
hesitation.
amps, though.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
it's like
they're
that
off
bass
stage.
tone. I mean, you spent so much time getting that.
yeah.
With I mean,
We've had a lot of people talk about that here too. You know, the people in house are going, "Wow, man, your bottom end is just like, you know." So, you know, like I said, that's paying off. All of that work that we put in there is paying off.
how is that translated? Because you've typically used the same PA, so you have everything like. Have you had to change a bit of that now going into the Sphere? Like, it didn't translate kind of how I thought it would.
No, and I'm going to self-promote here a little bit.
Do it.
So this plays right into the mentality that I've had for decades and decades now of doing live sound, is that when you can make the audio coming off of your console sound the way it's supposed to sound, just put me on any PA system now, and then it's just a matter of just minutely adjusting that PA to get it to work in that PA.
Well, that was my concern, because like you're not adjusting the PA this time. Now you have to like go straight
Well,
into.
but the better that is, the less adjustment it requires on the PA. You know, I mean, my quote on it is, "There's no PA in the world that is going to make a bad mix sound better than the good mix." No PA in the world that's going to do that. So, you know, work on your sources, get your audio and your balances, your tonal adjustments sounding right. I will tell you this, one of the significant differences in it, and I've really been kind of amazed by this, even night over night over night, and it was something I suspected, but I didn't realize how impactful it was going to be, is that now that you're out of bus mixing, you know, where we're always concerned with the dynamics, the EQ of given instruments, how do I get rid of the masking of frequencies and the low mids, how do I get all that clean where it'll read right? that just seems to go away mixing in objects. Like I've noticed, because, I have things spread out, across the room a little bit. Like Kenny Greenberg's guitar essentially lives in its own PA system over here, right? So, and the same for the other guitar players. So you can let those things live much more full frequency than you would if you were combining them down into a bus.
So a lot of your limiters from before are now gone.
I didn't use a ton before, but I use
not limiters, but your parameters that you've had before and your guardrails you've had, you now have freedom to do.
Just gone, yeah. I mean, that part of it's amazing. Like one of the things that I wanted to really test here at Sphere, and I'm just still kind of reeling at how good this worked, and I'm going to incorporate more of this in the next version of the show that we do there, is the localization aspect, right? Meaning, when you're working in objects, you can put things in areas of the PA that support where those things are locally to the stage, right? Now, this is an enormous venue, right? But I actually have, I'll show them when you get there, I have presets set up on the console where I can go drums center or drums behind the drum kit. And bass center, bass at the station, so I can actually localize them during the show if I want to do it. But I wanted to get down and check it and see. It's like, okay, well, if that's actually going to be a thing and it's actually going to work, it's going to work here. And the first day I did it, I was down in the lower mezzanine, like the first balcony and the first thing, and I was going back and forth, and it was absolutely startling how good it worked. I mean, my thinking initially was maybe I need to do that for the ear mixes, like where, when they're on stage, any kind of bleed they hear from the PA will be reinforced by the drum's location. Like they'll actually localize to it. So that was part of the thinking, but I also wanted to do it for the audience. And the other piece of it that just kind of blew my mind was when I took the bass guitar away from the drum kit and pushed those things out like this, all of a sudden the bass guitar sound was just completely uninhibited. I mean, it was just like, wow. Like the diction, and even the bass drum sounded better. Like I could get the diction on the bass drum was better. Just those two things separated just by that much was like, whoa, wow, does that work? So there are going to be elements and times, I think, in the show where I do that going forward. I'm going to program it into the show going forward.
One of the things I hear too, and they're not wrong, of stereo is not like you're watching the band, but you're hearing the band here.
Depending on where you are, yeah, in the plane. Yeah.
But the band's there. Yeah. So now that you have your guardrails off, you can now actually hear. In essence, you can have it hearing from there or from here, and it be consistent across the entire audience. It just blows the doors right off everything.
Well, it takes away that whole thing of, well, if I pan something left, what did the people on the right side hear? Well, here, if you put them on the left, the entire room hears it. But they hear it coming from the left.
So is this the future?
Well, I'm going to answer that question carefully, because whenever somebody asks something like that, it's always, are we going to get rid of what we had in the past?
Setting this up and tearing this down every single night is just not feasible, really. I mean,
let's go back 20 years and look at what we thought was feasible.
That's true. They're
to
going to
set
watch
up and
this and
tear
be
down.
like, ha, idiot.
Right.
But they've tried to do Atmos mixes before, and it just takes a lot of time to be able to do that.
Yeah, but we're not under the constraints of Atmos here. I mean, one of Atmos's signatures was that it, because it was working in the film industry, right? One of its calling cards early was, we'll be able to render an Atmos file to any room size. Meaning, if we go into a Smalls theater, it tells Atmos what it is, it renders properly for that room, et cetera, as we go on. We don't have any rendering here. There's nothing here. You're just going to set it up. Now, I will say this. I absolutely think there is a place for the front field object mixing to go on, even at scale, like at stadium scale. I think you could do it. Whether it needs to be full surround or not, we could go out and do front field immersive in a stadium now and have it be really, really effective and not worry about the surround aspect of it or the height aspect of it. Give that up. Just make it horizontal, maybe have some height in it and be able to do it. That's kind of what this has proven to me. It's like, yeah, we could go out and do this at big scale with some discipline with it, and have it work for a big chunk of the audience. Now, the challenge you have in stadium and arena is that there are people outside of the speaker system. Right here, everybody is inside the concave. So if you make something concave in a stadium, well, you've got people outside the concave that you're going to have to deal with. right? You're going to have to do some sort of fold down to get them some audio up there. But to me, man, it's much easier to fold down objects into mono for a fill than it is stereo. Stereo doesn't fold down all that great, you know?
I feel like I'd be terrified to mix on this because it would show any imperfections at all.
Well, it reveals it for sure. I mean, and you know, I mean, the thing I've noticed there for sure is that you have to mix the show. Like if you just leave something kind of static, it doesn't really read all that well in the room. The other piece of it that's fascinating, and you know, I've talked about this before from working in post situations and stuff, is especially here because the iMag is such a huge component of the show, is that your show sounds better when the iMag's on. It just does. I mean, you can mix in virtual sound check all day and get it pretty good, and then that iMag goes on and you go, I'm a genius right now. I am a genius right now. You know? So that part of it's fun. That part of it's fun. But you know, even in the room, like, you know, talking about this localization thing, like you'll hear it tonight if you're kind of paying attention to the show, that I have the guitar players spaced out in the room. You know, they're not. I just let them exist kind of where their locale is on the stage. Same thing with the organ and piano and stuff. It's kind of localized in the soundscape, kind of where they are on stage, and that seems to read really good up in the room. You know. So.
What do you think is the biggest misconception about Sphere and the audience Sphere?
That audio's happening everywhere at the same time. Mm-hmm. That all of these speakers are on. You know, blah 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 blah. It's just not that. You know, that's not the case. I mean, you know, I love. I said this years ago now that immersive, the word immersive was going to be the most misused and abused word we may have ever seen in audio, and it's kind of come true. And I love. Do you know who Nat Hoole is? She's a theater designer. I've listened to a couple of podcasts of her. She had a great take on this, that immersive, the word, is completely non-informational. It tells you nothing about the audio. What it is your emotional belief of what is going to happen in an immersive environment. And you're going to take that into the show. Now, if you want to talk spatialized audio, that's descriptive. That tells me something about what's going to happen. But to say something is immersive, it's like, well, what does that mean? You know, so everybody brings their own kind of definition of what immersive is to the table when they come to see one of these events, right?
How much time did you have for rehearsals before your first actual show?
We did, well, look, I mean, and very fortunately, I say, we were here in Vegas about 2 weeks or more maybe before our first entry into Sphere, because the schedule at Sphere is so compressed. Like, you don't have any time in there really to pre-produce. But they built this thing called the simulator. I mean, it's a Sphere simulator, which is a big structure with, 48 Meyer speaker system in there that they use to simulate Sphere. So all the routing works, level works, like however loud you mix there, that gain is going to translate to Sphere. So set up and mix your show where you want to mix it, place everything where you want to place it, make all the movements you want to move, whatever you want to do. So I had about 2.5 weeks of that, and honestly, I got, no kidding, probably 90% of the way there in the simulator. It was fantastic. It was a fantastic experience because they also simulate the propagation there. Like, I mean, when you push up the fader, I mean, it takes time to hear the audio. I mean, you're that far away, So.
That's going to be my next question. How long did it take you to actually finally get like, okay, I feel like I'm comfortable?
Honestly, we had 2 days of run-throughs in there, and yeah, like maybe 3 days. 3 days of full run-throughs, and really by about the second or third day, I went, okay, I could do a show right now if we had to do it. Now, that said, I kept kind of changing things and refining things. I'm still refining things over there. Even my 2-track mix, I started realizing the other day, it was like, well, dude, duh. If you're pulling audio from that location, you're actually recording your system EQ into the 2-track mix. So we kind of had to rethink that and rearrange that. So I'm constantly kind of thinking and refining things. But honestly, it came together pretty quick.
Effects.
Yeah.
Are you still using the same stuff you're using before? Did you have to rethink some of it, especially with your time?
I didn't let time impact my thinking on that really at all. But I kind of anticipated that I was going to run into this challenge because stereo doesn't really work in this world. I mean, you can kind of make stereo effects work there, where you can just build a pocket into the audience or into the PA system where you kind of go, okay, I'm going to let the effect just live right there. Huh. I mean, it's not like normal, right? And the thing that really startled me was, and I noticed this the first time I ever mixed on an Elisa system. I think I was in Westlake Village with Scott Sugden, and just doing some experimenting with it. I was really fascinated at how good mono reverb worked in this scenario. Like, you know, because you're going to take an object and you're going to place it in the soundscape. And if you want to just immediately give it some depth, you just put the reverb right in with it and just go wet dry, and you can get it to kind of give it some depth right in its location. Doesn't get wide, but you can give a sense of depth to it there. So I was really kind of startled at how good that worked in this scenario. But that said, I know the next time I come back, I'm going to look into some multi-channel output reverbs to be able to come in and do that in a more extravagant fashion, you know. Because I've been talking to a couple of reverb manufacturers about this, and you know, they're kind of you know, at risk of being critical of them, you know, they kind of locked into their own worlds of thinking a little bit here, and nobody's really thinking live sound, especially in this kind of thing. They're thinking more in the lines of post or even recording to some degree, which will help us in live sound. But you know, like the example I gave to the ones I was talking about is like, okay, let's go into movie post for a second, where you're using multi-channel in an Atmos environment, right? Well, any scene that you're in really has one environment, right? There's one reverberant space in there, whether it's a small room, it's a big hall, it's a parking garage, whatever. In music mixing, at least in contemporary music mixing, we're using tons of different spaces depending on the instrument we're dealing with, right? I mean, we might have a different snare reverb than the vocal reverb. The keyboard reverb and the organ reverb might be different from what we're using on the guitars, et cetera, any kind of spatial elements. And I buy into that theory. I use those spatial elements to create part of those sounds. I know it goes against what some people think, but that's my approach to it. So, you know, certainly in recording, you know, not if you're listening to records, it's not one space that's being used for that record. You know, it's tons of different places. So in music production, I want to have the capability to do that. So we're kind of in a no man's land right now, you know, with stereo effects in an immersive environment here. I need to be able to create some multi-channel spatial pockets.
Say, all right? Reverb, I think, is stereo reverbs.
Yeah, and we don't now. I mean, we have a height and a depth component to it now that we could really, really make some really significantly cool space for those instruments. You know?
Are you using any outboard gear for this?
I got one. I got an Eventide H9000 that I'm using a little bit for that. I got gosh, it's an old Soundcraft real-time rack. I mean, it's basically the UAD server.
Yeah.
And I use that for my guitar rooms and solo spaces. But the rest of it's all in the box.
So you also said you have to mix this show. Talk to me a little bit. Are you doing any automation? Are you doing a scenes? Are you just kind of writing the whole thing?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've been using snapshots like that forever, where the snapshot will get me in a position to mix the song. Like, it'll get the right faders in front of me. It'll make the right the processing changes that I need for that song and get it ready to mix. Right. After that, it's like, okay, here come the vocals. That's it. Okay.
You're not doing verse, chorus, verse,
no, I'm not. Bridge. No, I'm not. And we have to do that here specifically. You know, if there are going to be things that I'm going to put around in the room, like there's this one song called "I Go Back," where the breakdown section of it actually goes to kind of a rural church scene, you know, and there's a big organ part in it. So I actually put people inside the Leslie for that piece of the song, you know. So you know, everybody's sitting inside the Leslie going around.
That's cool.
So you know, you have to have presets and stuff for that. So
favorite song to mix at the Sphere?
Well, Setting the World on Fire is really fun because we have a lot of movement in that. There's a lot of noise and stuff that goes on with that. We have a song called Noise, which is a pretty big production piece, which is pretty cool because I kind of go back and forth between this heavily flanged vocal of Kenny's and then I put way up in the building. I mean, it's just raining down on people. And then it like in the verses, it's that flanged vocal, and then in the pre-chorus and the choruses, it goes back to the traditional vocal, and kind of the difference of that is really stark. There's a lot of noise movement in that we built in. Like, I'm using Space Map Go to do all the trajectory moves for anything that's going to move around the room at any time. So that's a lot to program too. I mean, that's a lot to get up, where you have to just go right trajectories and then figure out how you're going to trigger them.
There's like a little joystick you can use. Yeah. Which would be.
Well, I said this the other day. I've used this a couple times now, but I still just marvel at it. Like my panner, the way I'm doing the panner, which is we use a Milan network to do the panner. So I have 32 outputs that go to Space Map Go, and then 32 returns that come to the console. and those 32 returns are positioned around the environmentals in the room. So I can send something to any one of those 32 inputs and write a trajectory for it, right? So if this piece of noise is going to space map, I've written a trajectory for it, and when it triggers, when it happens, it's just going to go around the room, right?
Interesting.
So the interesting part of it for me was this is the exact same workflow that I used on Rush in the 90s doing quad.
It's come full circle.
Well, I just remember thinking, who knew? Yeah, full circle, very good. Who knew, working with Rush was going to prepare me to do immersive country, 30 years later.
Well, it's tough because like you got pan, and even with Atmos, you can literally steer it around. But this, you can't like just say I want it to go right. You have to.
Well, if I had an actual panner, I could certainly do that. I could move it around the room. But the way I'm doing it here, like the SXL gives you the facility to send out a MIDI command or send out any kind of command really based on meter level. So I can just set a threshold and say, okay, when the signal reaches minus 28, send that command. And that sends it to QLab. QLab sends the OSC command to SpaceMap Go, and that starts the trajectory. So I don't really have to do much once I have it programmed other than ride the level of it, right? Like if there's a vocal or something that's going to happen up there, as soon as that vocal happens, it goes and happens. I don't have to make it happen, so to speak, but I have to program it to do it.
I was going to say your poor SC, but I mean at the same time, it's not like it's going through a process. It's go through a lake and do it. I mean, it's all.
Well, in the Rush days, I mean, I actually had a guy who was building all those cues for me in the show, like because I was working on 2 Gambles at the time, so the precept was if you were going to put something in the panner to move it around the room, you had to deassign it from the main left right, turn it up in the pan bus, and then it would show up in the quad joystick, and you could move it around the room. But I mean, we literally had a flip cue chart of okay, in this song, these are the inputs that get bus swapped and get ready for it. And I had a little flip chart thing on the panner that would tell me what was there at any given time. But it's exactly the same here. It's just all digitized and digital movement. So. Crazy.
I don't want you to speak for your monitor engineer, but I mean, I'm assuming it may have been a little bit of a learning curve for him as well, but no, not really, because you guys have been doing ears pretty much.
Yeah, no.
But there's no popping out of ear for this one.
Well, it's funny you say it because, I kind of pre-warned Kenny for it, because of this latency thing. I mean, it's, where you've got a PA system that is behind you.
Audience mics, I can't have that here, can you?
So, and I mean, maybe this is the time to say it. My secret weapon on this show, on making this show sound good, is Kenny Chesney. Period. Full stop. I mean, the guy has an incredibly strong voice, and he's got a cupped mic technique, but he's always on mic, and that kind of negates this whole thing that's coming in 80 milliseconds late. Like it doesn't eliminate it. It's still there. It's still a problem. But if you had a singer who was a weak voice, in terms of level, and had a microphone down here, man, that's tough. I mean, that would be really, really tough to deal with. So he is my secret weapon. And he's used to being out in front of the PA in the stadiums, so it didn't really, really disrupt him all that much. The place where it's probably disrupted people the most are the keyboard player and the drummer, because now they're in front of the PA as well, right? Whereas, in the stadium, they're still in the band shell. The only people that are out in front of the PA are the singer and maybe the guitar players. So, and even with that, like some of the measurements we've taken up there and talked about it, it really didn't come as advertised in terms of how bad it was, Like we heard a lot of other bands talking about, there's all this bleed down on the stage. And I mean, I was talking to Kenny on the talkback at the first rehearsal, and he was like, well, I'll take this over SoFi any day. He was just, kind of jokingly, but the point was, we've been in way, way worse environments than this,
No bleed through with the drum mics at all from the PA?
Of course there is, yeah, but you just gotta
heavy gauge or trigger? Do you use triggers?
No, you just gotta manage it with level. You're not gonna. Yeah. You'll hear it tonight. So,
one of my thoughts, again naively, with so many smaller speakers, would be lack of impact, because big speakers make big boom.
Big boom boom.
Yes.
Well, that's kind of a misnomer here at Sphere, for sure.
Interesting. I was wondering about that.
Is that you have, big speakers and little speakers. They're all the same thing. Like, I mean, you can sweep something around a room and, you don't hear it. I mean, you can hear some tonal shift on it just based on your position. But it's not like it's, completely different. It keeps its tonal characteristics there. Matter of fact, They have it weighted a little heavy right now in this area they call the proscenium, which is this main cluster of speakers that are facing into the audience, where they have that just a hair louder than the surrounds. And I actually think next time I come back, I'm going to probably negate that and try to get it a little more even. Like one of the challenges I had with it early on was I wanted to set up and do guitar solos up high. I wanted high and coming down on people and kind of localized. And because of that offset, like when you were down low, they felt out of balance. Like the solo didn't sound as loud as I thought it should sound when you were down low. Up in the seats, it sounded glorious. So I ended up taking that back a little bit and putting it back in the proscenium and doing the solos there. And what I ended up doing was moving some of the effects processing up and making it kind of asymmetrical, like I would do it, like I would do a guitar room reverb up left of the guitar and down right of the guitar, and it just seemed to work. I tried it in a bunch of different locations. Like, yeah, that seems to work pretty cool there, So it also led me to believe that if I can get multi-channel reverbs in play, that'll actually work really good. But it just becomes really input and bus intensive. I mean, now for every reverb, you might have 7 returns into the console just for that reverb, and have to position them in the room.
I'm assuming there's no subs.
Well, this is a different thing. I mean, there's sub energy there, no question about it. But you treat, it's a cinema mindset where it's an LFE channel, just like in Atmos, right? So you have an LFE output, and that goes, that is your sub energy. And I was kind of skeptical on that piece of it, but I'm totally amazed how good that works. Like the first time I turned on the bass drum, I was like, oh, we're going to be fine here. Good grief. But it actually tripped me up. Here's another example of how it tripped me up. And this actually speaks volumes about the Holoplot guys. So for the concert setting, right, the concert preset for the PA, they have to build a ground fill that goes under our stage, right? Because there's no ground fill. So, there's a routing that goes down there. Like there's a fold down that goes down there. And I didn't realize it when I was setting up, but there's also an LFE for the ground subs, or for the ground system. And so I was down there listening on the first day, and I was like, guys, there's nothing happening down here in the ground fill. I mean, there's no bass drum down there. There's no bass guitar. I was like, is the alignment right down here? I was questioning all kinds of things. And Eric, the guy who was on site from Holoplot, he contacts me. He goes, okay, the guys in Berlin are monitoring the PA system, and you're not sending anything to the ground LFE. And I was like, what ground LFE? I didn't even know there was a ground LFE.
I'm sorry. Did you say the guys in Berlin were monitoring it?
Yeah. They monitor the entire PA system as it's being used, right? And they can detect things that are
in real time.
In real time, yeah. So I'm just saying, they've got it really together. I mean, they're pretty impressive right now. I'm pretty impressed with them.
It sounds actually really impressive. What would your advice be to a band that's about to go and their engineer is going to start mixing?
Well, it's kind of a litany of things, but try to gather as much time as you can in the simulator for sure. I mean, it's just not a place that you would want to come in and do a one-off, or you're just going to show up and mix a show. It would be really challenging to do it. You could do it. Don't get me wrong. You could absolutely do it. But to take full advantage of the scope of the place, it would be a challenge to do that. So don't underestimate your prep time. Prep time is going to go like that, And concentrate on your sources. Concentrate on mic technique with your people. Try to encourage them, especially vocalists, try to encourage them to be on mic. Otherwise, you're going to have a tough time with that backfill problem.
Where's the best seat? Because I feel like for the first time, the front row may not be the best to hear that.
It's surprising.
Crack!
It's surprising how good it is down on the floor. I've seen a few shows there now and kind of walked around, and really one of the overall big challenges there, and it's been a school for me, absolutely a school for me, is the effects of the environment on what the PA actually delivers to the room, right? I've been posting about it. Some people have been following it. I've been putting up some curves and some data to show it. But there's not constant humidity in the room. And being here in the desert, I've seen it swing. Like when we first got here, it was 18, 19, 20%, right? And then over the course of a few shows, like we had some monsoons come in and stuff, and it got up as high as 50, 55%. And it is just a completely different experience when you get those kind of temperature, humidity changes. Like the top end to the back of the room changes dramatically. On the days when it's really low humidity, it'll be darker in the back of the room and really bright down front. So you just have to be on point. Like you have to have it together with this. Like I even noticed, like once the room gets up to about 35% humidity, the echo structure in the room just absolutely comes to life. Like there's so much high frequency making it back there now. Even at the mix position, there are times where it's like, wow, the echo feels louder than the vocal right now. So you have to kind of be on it. I mean, you have to be prepared.
So where would you say is the best spot to sit for this? If
Best
you're going to buy
spot
a
to
ticket
sit.
or tell
I
someone.
mean, honestly, anywhere. I mean, the majority of the seats are good, but I'd say if you took a good sized wedge from the center, from the stage width out, those are going to be the most impactful seats. So the middle.
Well, and taking into account the massive LED
Yeah.
wall too, I figure like I almost want to be further back to kind of see.
Well, there's an element of truth to that. I think the middle 300s are probably the best seats. 200s are good, but the middle 300s you get the full thing, and you can kind of still see the band and see what's going on there.
Okay, so from someone who's been in the industry for a little bit, a couple years, couple days, and what you've seen in technology, and you're now at the pretty much once again, I don't know how you keep doing this, at the pinnacle of technology.
I don't know how I could. It's like.
So we're gonna put on our magic hat, tinfoil hat, and if you can see into the future a little bit, what would be your thought of where this is going, or where do you feel like the need is for the future?
Well, I hope we keep pressing on this object mixing thing, and I'll use the term this immersive environment. This has validated some thinking for me that it is absolutely a valid way to work. And certainly with my thoughts about how good stereo actually works in a big environment. There's something right here. I mean, there's something here to be done in a big environment and have it work. Now, there are trade-offs. I mean, we know this. I talk about it all the time. In audio, you're always managing your trade-offs. So, even though we can, in the immersive environment, in the object mixing environment, we can create separation of instruments really easily. Like it's just really easy just to push things up and hear them in context. What we sacrifice there is impulse, right? Because we've created time disparity between these instruments depending on where you are in the room, right? Whereas in stereo, everything's exiting the speaker system at the same time. Everything's arriving to you at the same time. So there's a better sense of impulse out of a stereo system or a two-channel system. So that's a little bit of a trade-off. And at some point, you're going to get enough distance in it that that's going to break down where you're just going to go, okay, that's not working so good anymore. So that was one of my things to get in here and see, okay, what kind of distances are we talking about where it breaks down? All of that circle around to say, there's something right about what's going on here that we need to pay attention to and get into spaces and work, I mean, I come away from it just thinking, wow, I mean, it's just such a cool musical experience because you hear everything. I mean, you just read everything so well in there,
Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you.
Thanks for coming.
I think we can go take a look at it next. If you guys want to support this channel, I've got a Patreon and a YouTube membership. Please go help support. We also have an app now. You can go. This is Del Cruz app, and the cool thing is
an Oralizer app.
It's an Oralizer app. The cool thing is you can talk to other verified professionals and people who are actually legit pros on there. So go. Everything's on there. It's free for job postings, for Ask a Pro, there's one for Faith on Tour as well. All sorts of groups. Go download it. It's free. It's all free. Enjoy. So
I got a feeling somebody's going to ask me some questions on that app here coming up.
Bet they won't. Let's go to the Sphere. It is hard to overstate the size and scope of this incredible building. This thing is massive. I want to say it's pretty steep here, but it's awesome because you're not blocked by anything. This amazing view of this incredible LED wall, and everywhere I've walked up and down this, it is perfect audio everywhere I've been. You are truly immersed in one of the most amazing things I have ever seen. If you have the opportunity, you need to come here and check this out. This has got to be the, I don't know what you call it, the 10th, 7th, first one in the world. This place is truly incredible. If you have the opportunity, come here, check it out. I don't think there's a bad seat in this house. This video is brought to you by Custom House at Guitar Center, your community-driven destination for all audio, video, and lighting needs. Hit them up.
Are you ready?
I don't know if I'm ready. Am I good?
No.
Did I jack it up?
Is this the first time you've done this
Yeah,
before?
apparently.
Man, thank God you're here, Jason. I'm just saying, man.
Do what I can. Do what I can.
I love this is rolling
All right.
too.
Clap.
We're here at the Sphere. We made it. It is so hard to comprehend, to even put into words what I'm looking at. I mean, it goes all the way up. This is insane. I'm gonna do my best to be able to show you this on camera, but I don't think I'm gonna be able to do this. But
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, I've experienced it when I've come in here and just shot photos, and even our photographer, like the tour photographer, is like, how do I shoot this?
you could, I mean, I've talked to Jason about this too, and it's even hard to like, he was saying it's hard to even comprehend what you're looking at. You can't comprehend until you're actually here. But since we're here, and I know we got limited time because there's such short windows that keep this place pretty booked. Keep
Yeah,
going.
it's we're working. We're working right now. You don't even see it.
This is, once again, we're in your cockpit.
Yeah, yeah.
Pretty much copy paste, pretty much from before.
Oh no, it was a complete start over.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Can you walk us through a little bit? Do
Well,
you have
like,
time?
I'll get you through a little bit of it, and then I
Okay.
got to go back to doing some work. So,
Perfect.
But for the most part, like normally we're mixing to a left-right bus. Right?
Okay.
That's not the case here. So, in terms of outputs, matter of fact, I'll show it up here. So that is the speaker layout in the room, if you can see that there. And each one of those squares represents a speaker system.
And that's where
a
we're at
PA
right here?
system. We're in the center, right? So you have to have the facility to get audio to any one of those positions. So if you take a look at my outputs, like that is 48 of the outputs that go to the
That's your
PA.
outputs?
That's the outputs, right? And even that goes one step further. Like I said, it's 48 groups or 64 groups into 64 matrices that go out to the PA system, right? So you can see the challenge becomes, as I was mentioning in the early interview, it's like, okay, well, here's an acoustic. Where is it going right now? Right? So you have to have ways. So I use grouping to be able to do that, and I can see, like this is 32 of the available 48 spots, and I can see it's going to proscenium 2 left. Right? So you just have to, you can manage that across 100 inputs, and now it's a lot mentally to stay in track of, And then on top of it, that we had to separate the effects processing out of that group structure and get it into matrix directly. It can tumble out of hand really quickly.
Can you explain that visualizer again?
This, the visualizer.
The what do we call it?
Well, this is Space Map Go.
Space Map Go.
Right.
Okay.
So there are certain sound effects and certain things in the show that I actually have moved during the show. Like normally it would just be in the stereo field, but there's opportunity to do that here. So you can kind of see it here. This is 2 trajectories that I've written for this piece in Setting the World on Fire, which is this big noise movement back to a big boom that happens down in here, I'll just turn it on here, we can hear it. Right, so it moves from the back of the room to the front, and it's in the haptics in the seats and everything. Right? So that's kind of fun stuff you can do with it, right? And this makes it pretty easy to do. Like I said, this is the same workflow that I used in Rush many, many years ago. It's just programmed now. And I don't have to have somebody load it and operate it. I just have the input level operated.
You almost were preparing your entire life.
It's
this.
weird, isn't it? I mean, people have asked about this whole thing. It's like, why are we doing this? It's like, are you kidding? We've been working toward this for 60 years. I mean, you think about the things that started at the Fillmore, through the Dead, through Rush, Pink Floyd, all of it, it's been working towards something like this, So yeah, I mean, I remember standing here opening night at U2 and just I said it to my wife actually, I go, wow, can you believe what we've created as an industry here? This is the coolest thing ever, ever. Yeah. We won't see anything above and beyond this for a while now, for a long while.
It's incredible. I'm happy to be here. I know I want to be respectful of your time.
Yeah, I got to do a little bit of virtual sound checking here.
Perfect.
And I actually think that's going to go pretty quick today, so we might catch another 10 or 15 minutes here before we start line check. So,
Okay.
All right, so just hang in there.
Okay, we'll be back. It's so much.
Right? See, you have to have a specially designed camera to be able to come in here and do this, right?
I mean, you need like an ultra wide lens.
You don't have a
Do we have a lens that
wide
wide?
enough.
Do we have a
You
lens that
don't.
wide?
Just admit it, you don't.
No, I don't. I mean, it's the amazing point. The amazing part is, Jason and me walk all around. It's exactly the same.
Oh,
Audio
listening-wise?
is-
I know, right? But see, that's what object mixing will do for you, right? Where, things like as you move around, if we're in stereo, you have a shifting tonality as you walk left to right. This is one location, one speaker, so no matter where you go, if the coverage of that possibility is right, it's going to sound the same wherever you go, right? The thing that's going to shift is a little bit of timing offset between instrumentation as you walk.
Yeah.
Right? The impulse won't quite be the same, but I mean, I've talked about this tons of times. I think our mind fixes that when we're watching it happen. If we're just listening, you can pick it out and kind of go, not sure I would want that. But when you see it in action with IMAG and everything else, your mind just goes, yes, yep, okay, yep, no problem.
Is it tough to not see the band?
It is a challenge. It's one of the things I'm going to change next time we come in is I got to get the console much lower. I mean, literally like a foot lower so that I can get in the full face of the PA because I'm actually kind of blocked off from the top end of the PA here. It's dark if I'm sitting down and mixing here because we're not in a seated area here, right? I'm way above an actual seated area and they can be precise enough with their beamforming to not cover this if they don't want to do it. So
Have you
I have to stand on that every now and then just to kind of check myself and see where I'm at,
How are you watching them?
I got a line cut right here.
Oh, jeez. Wow. Okay, this is absolutely insane.
Yeah, look up.
Oh my gosh.
I know, right? Yeah, I mean, you tell people you can't experience till you get here. Okay, look. See the guy with the fro?
Is it you?
Bob Ross.
Okay, are you able to walk us through a little bit of your setup here, what you have going on?
Yeah, I mean, we can do it quick. I don't really have much going on down here. Fish took the liberty to build in my near field system here, so that's my Alcon subwoofer, Alcon's speakers, which actually travel in this rack now. So there's nothing really critical going on here other than my reference environment, so that's going to make it easy to get rid of that. Over here, it's kind of hard to see, but this is the outboard I'm using. I just have a tube tech, which I would normally use across my stereo bus. I'm only using one channel of that across the main proscenium center bus right now because that's where kick, snare, bass guitar is right now. If I was going to do the split like we talked about where I move it out, then I would also patch the second channel of that out and put one on bass, one on drums, etc. I might even have another couple of channels of that involved if I was going to do that next time I come back. The rest is all kind of need 50-45s for the vocals to keep those under control with the ambient bleed in, and the rest of it is done in the box with the exception of those devices there. Like I got the H9000 down there for some reverbs. I've got the UAD box for some reverbs, and that's it. The Waves is not in use here, which really I was only ever using that for metering anyway previously. So,
Is feedback an issue?
anytime you put a live microphone in a room with the speakers that microphone is feeding, of course there's chance for feedback. Of course.
All right. You gotta run.
What's that? Yeah, close here. Yeah, we're going to start line checking in a few minutes. So, but yes, of course, and you have to be on the game to do that. And that gets tricky here when you got a shifting humidity environment.
Huh.
I mean, you can just, I've been in here enough now. It's like you can just feel it changing. It's like, yep, PA's getting brighter. Here it comes. And you're just on the master fader.
Interesting.
Here it comes. I mean, I've got a humidity monitor here that is the aggregate humidity in the building, right, plus temperature. And they give me reports on it every night. They have a humidity preset for the PA. We're sitting on the 30% preset right now. And I have them log it every night for me so I can go back and look at it. We capture traces every night. This is the 5 microphone locations we do up the stripe of the room. So we can see SPL and frequency response at 5 different locations throughout the room.
Are you shooting for a certain SPL?
Well, like normally this show would run about 100, 102. And at the mix position right now, it's averaging 95, and it feels louder than it does in the stadiums to me. And I think that's a function of the object mixing thing again too. I haven't quite got my head totally wrapped around that yet.
Yeah.
Where it just feels louder than it reads.
That's incredible. And you got is this the normal console you have? Or is this the bit?
Yeah, no, this is it's on the 48D. I've been on it for ages, so.
Okay. Cool.
Let me see where.
All right, we'll let you do your.
Yeah, I mean, you can film this if you want. It doesn't
Okay.
matter. Shaggy, are you there? Am I waiting? Are you guys waiting on me?
Yeah, we're ready to go. Y'all get up there?
Yeah. Where are you going to start today?
I'll get Melvin on the kit.
Nice. It's going to start with the drums. Come on. If you want to see this, this is kind of cool. So this is a meters app that a guy named, I'm spacing his name, damn it. I'll get back to it. But a former colleague of mine at Avid built. So it's called Massive Meters. So I have it set up where we just pull it at a Dante point where I can have meters on every send to the PA sitting right on the console here, right? So
We are applying
you'll
gels
see
to
that
the snare.
coming up
And
here
then we'll begin.
as we do it. This is all just event stuff for me, so I have it where I can start and stop any trajectories on anything that is moving manually here. I have it kind of set up automated, but can do it here. And then this is my positioning thing where I can move overheads and cymbals up or down in the mix, or move the drums and bass off center, etc. So just at the push of a button. Works out pretty cool.
I think we're all good.
Okay, bring it.
Bring it.
This is even more insane from down here. There's people that's going to be standing?
Yeah, this is what we would normally term the sandbar. So this is all GA down here, people hanging.
This is insanity.
So what we have to bring in, or what they have to bring in for shows, for concerts, right, is an entire set of X1 holoplot down here under the stage for front fill, right? Because the coverage of the holoplot actually starts out about right where we are right now. So they have to get that down there. This is kind of the second LFE channel that I was talking about. There's a whole other discrete LFE that goes to the ground fill here. But, you know, PA is up there, right?
That's insane.
Yeah.
And no subs.
No subs, it's all
Nothing
part
gets
of
on the line.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was pretty cool.
It is also a very, very, very clean stage.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, and do you delay the crowd mics?
Well, we don't really delay them. You know, I mean, Phil, the monitor engineer, might mess with some delay a little bit. But, you know, the thing he struggles with is really the same thing that I struggle with was, you know, once the humidity raises and the high frequency transmits to the back of the room, now these have much more echo in them, you know. They're not as, like he picks up the back part of the room in the audience mics, right? So it's this, I'm telling you, man, it is a true just dance with that piece of it.
It looks just as impressive from down here too. It is.
Yeah, and you just can't get like the length of it, right?
No.
I mean, it's hard to believe that that is, you know, 300 plus feet up there, right?
Does it sound pretty different when you get the bodies in here?
Not dramatically, honestly.
Okay.
You know, the thing that happens when the bodies come in is everybody's breathing, and that's when you start to see the humidity climb. You know, once you get the people in here,
So not much in the absorption of.
no, it's a pretty dry room to begin with. You know, there's elements of that sound like you're in a dome. You know, people have asked me, it's like, what's it like mixing in a dome? But you know, the thing to remember in a normal dome is we come in and put in concave PA,
Yep.
right, which creates way more disparate echo in a dome that you would normally have. But here, it doesn't seem to do that bad. Like it's way more near field sounding than you would expect in a dome, for sure.
Wow. This is cool.
All right, so we'll head up around this
Yeah.
way and
Cool.
take a little tour of the back here while we got a
Oh,
few
we're here.
minutes. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you guys.
All right, let's go up here while we can. Yeah.
I mean. So this would be Kenny's point of view.
Yeah.
Wow.
So when it's rocking, I mean, it's, you know, it's happening. It's on top of you, you know. It's really cool.
This is insane.
Right?
I noticed you guys, there was also lights built in, not built, behind this that shone through as well.
Yeah, Kenny's, I think, the first artist to bring in actual elements, actual lighting elements, and hang them in here.
Okay.
I was kind of, that was what I was mentioning, like there's times where, like when we have the guest up here, where it's primarily IMAG and traditional lighting, you know, so there's not really a video element to that, right? So he makes it try to be much more like the stadium event thing for the guest, right?
So are speakers coming down all the way even down to here?
No, they start, I mean, they're probably up maybe as high as the bottom of that map line there, you know?
Okay. Wow.
Like there's a big section of them in here, right? A big rectangular section of them in here.
How do they get in and out of here?
Through these stairs that are on the left and right side.
Then back through there, right?
They could go back through there too, yeah.
Okay.
I think that's where Kenny comes up there.
Wow.
Right, so, you know, drum kit wise, we ended up going to the plexiglass, obviously. I tried to create some non-corners here to try to keep some low frequency build up. And this is actually, I gotta say, I don't want to say this, but it's actually worked pretty good. I was really reticent to put up plexiglass in front of it, but I think part of our secret was we got some distance between the kit and the plexiglass, which would have changed the frequency of the standing waves in it. And it's been pretty good. I got to say, it hasn't really messed with me too much.
Are you doing much panning with the drums and overheads on this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is an idea of where you get not only width but height, right?
Yeah.
So I have the drum placements in the main part of the proscenium. They're probably not wider than the proscenium, and I have like the main overheads out a little bit and up. And then the snare overhead, which is essentially what that is, goes in the center array but goes up. It goes up in the above arrays. So you get some height out of the kit with it, you know.
Do you take anything and push it out?
At times, yeah. I mean, there's keyboard pads that happen out there. There's some backing vocal things that happen up and out. You heard some of the noise effects and stuff today. Yeah, there's like in Somewhere With You, there's a big keyboard orchestra thing that is kind of happening over the guitar solo, and that's big out in space, you know. So yeah, it's just, you know, it's just picking and choosing where you're going to sit and place things, right?
Cool.
All right, so I guess we can go downstairs from here.
I can't get over that. It's insane.
Right? I mean, it just messes with your normal brain, right?
This way?
Yep.
Hey, Jason, you DJing tonight?
Yeah, all night long, man.
All night long, baby.
All night long. And copyright strike.
All right, camera crew on the deck. Let's keep it clean.
Camera crew on the deck.
Oh, there's a whole world under here.
What's your thing there? Yeah. You might be able to stand up. Right, so this is, the whole backline guys, everything works from under here. So this is kind of, we did this a little different than the other bands that have been here, where we've got this above head height where everybody can actually live down here. And, you know, once we're done at night, then they strike the front fills, and this whole thing just kind of unplugs and moves, rolls forward.
This whole thing moves oh my goodness.
They roll it as one piece, right? So that moves up into the slot to give room for the movie. So you know, obviously a lot of forethought.
It's almost like the county fair where you got to like push it all back for the
It is.
for the
we're
rodeo.
back to doing rodeos.
With couches, man.
So you know, this is all the I/O racks. Everything's back here. Like we'll go back and look. You know, we're the first act also to have the monitor consoles out in the arena, but it's just the control surfaces out there. All their control, everything is back here, so it can roll, right? So,
And everything's on wheels, so it all actually
it all moves. It
pulls
all
out.
moves. Right, so it's literally
It's almost like
unplug
you
it and roll it
planned for it.
forward. Yeah. Refrigerator, coffee, you know,
What up, guys?
catfish.
Sorry, we're going to tour through your world. Your condos, actually. This is a whole flat.
Our cubicles.
Do you know how much this would go for in New York as an apartment complex?
Yeah, careful there.
I mean, for this right here.
My wife lived in a basement in New York
Did she really?
for Eastern Airlines. Yeah. Way
My
back when.
goodness.
A one-room basement was back then. It was in 1985. Was $1,200 a month.
That's the ringleader. Where's Tom?
Yeah, where is the ringleader? Where is our fearless leader?
Probably went to catering.
$2,000 in Vegas right now. Just a small space.
All right, I think we'll exit back
Let's do
through
it.
here.
Thanks for letting me in your house, y'all.
Watch your head there again. So most of the acts that come in, apparently, at least the ones I've seen here, usually don't have that underworld happening. Like all of their stuff is back here. It's set up behind the this is called the media plane here. So, so we'll head.
Oh,
back.
we get to go behind the curtain.
Yeah. So just please be careful. It's dark. I don't
Okay.
have a flashlight. I don't know what you can see up here, or what we should film, even for that matter. So.
Oh my gosh. It's even on tracks. Oh, yeah, I guess we do have a light.
Oh, there you go.
Wow.
Yeah, right.
This is cool.
So this is just backstage area. There's our fearless leader over there. Just little hangout areas. There's tech work back here.
It just keeps going.
Got the swordfish. So most of the time, like for the other shows, like I said, monitors are done back here. Most of the backline techs work from back here and go through that door to feed instruments to the stage, et cetera. So we've got it where we do everything under the stage and just kind of have it deck right up. You know,
And that whole thing has to push.
the whole thing.
behind.
Yep. Well, it doesn't push behind this; it pushes forward. Like it pushes all the way forward, and then they have you know, the blowers and all the other stuff that are used for the environmentals in the movie come out and sit where the stage is right now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Well, thank you, man.
All right.
This is awesome.
So yeah, it's, you know, like I said, it's just a lot of prep to do things like you've never done it before.
It's almost
you know?
like Super Bowl style, where you got to get
It
it
is,
in and get it
it's
out real
very
fast. And
I mean, not to that scale, of course, but very similar
Well,
in
I mean,
mindset. But I mean, you know, like you're not
Sure.
going out and building in 5 or 6 minutes, you know.
Yeah. This
crazy.
is, I mean, it's just. Hi. Hey there. How are you? I bet you're wondering what Jason has around his neck. Hey, Jason, what do you ring around your neck?
Well, this is an awesome location sound bag provided by TK at Gotham Sound. Hooked us up for this awesome shoot here at the Sphere.
So if you're looking for a rental for any location sound stuff, hit up Gotham Sound. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, TK.
You guys over dinner. or
Oh, you
something,
do
yeah.
have the 2 monitor consoles here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I only saw one, so I thought you were only something.
Well, it looks like one from up there,
It
right?
does. Okay, so this is. Explain the 2 real fast.
So we're opening
Come
the doors.
on, baby.
All right, so primary console is Kenny only. It's Phil Robinson mixes monitors just for Kenny. And then Brian Baxley is here. He's mixing monitors for the band. So they just break those 2 jobs apart.
It's
That way he
amazing.
can stay completely focused. Oh,
That's amazing. You have an entire PM7 just for one person.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
well, I mean, it works in redundancy as well. You know, like if one of the consoles went down, then it's not a big deal to get it going for that.
Yeah.
You know, to take over. So
Yeah.
It's not a huge deal.
Cool.
Still follow it.
Well, thank you, man.
All right.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you for joining us. Thank you to this beautiful man for having us out. I can't wait for the next exciting thing we do.
Yeah. What's next? We're gonna do the shuttle, the space shuttle now.
We could do the space shuttle. We could do the. You guys playing the Super Bowl? I mean, coming to a hotel room near you, we'll just be sitting there staring at each other in each other's eyes.
I don't know what we're doing.
Well, thank you guys for going on with us. I appreciate you guys. If you want to support, like I said before, go to the Patreon or YouTube. If you want to see this guy, where can they find you at?
Robert Scovill Facebook, Robert Scovill Instagram, Robert Scovill LinkedIn. Pretty simple, really.
All the places.
You know how to spell the name, you'll get there.
All of us. Any other shout outs you want to do?
I do a regular online meeting called the Back Lounge every Thursday night. We've been doing it for about 5 years into it now. So you just go to my website at robertscovill.com and you can sign up for it. It's free entry into a Zoom room. You just sit in there and
do
talk
that.
audio and all kinds of other stuff. So
How's this the first time hearing of that?
I don't know.
You've never
I'm
invited
surprised
me.
You haven't been there. So, yeah,
I'm gonna go there now.
entry. So yeah, it happens every Thursday at 4:20 West Coast time. You know what I'm talking about.
I do. All right, y'all. Appreciate you guys. See you next time.
See ya.